source. Nuclear energy provides over 20% of U.S. electricity, while emitting no carbon dioxide or any other pollutants that would harm the atmosphere. Yet, nuclear energy is overlooked because of the few incidents that happened over the past 50 years since it started. One, 3 Mile Island. Second one was the Chernobyl, and thirdly was the Fukushima, which is recently, about 2 years ago. However, research have shown that nuclear energy is actually a safe, environmentally friendly, and an affordable way to create energy. First, we shall talk about the biggest concern of nuclear energy, safety. Safety is always big on our mind when we think about nuclear energy because of the amount of energy that it's able to release. Well, how safe are these reactors were built? These reactors actually follow under a strict guideline by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, also known as the NRC. The reactor must pass a certain test, and a probability test that they put out is that it has to be 1 in 10,000 years core damage frequency. However, the best nuclear reactor in the United States are actually at a 1 in a million chance. And according to the World Nuclear Association, within the next decade or so, this probably will actually decrease down to 1 in 10 million chance. Now, to increase the safety of the design even more, they actually follow under in-depth approach, and there are a few key aspects of this system, where they follow a high-quality design and construction to prevent operational errors and human failures. And secondly, they do regular testing of equipment failures and a diverse system of safety to prevent radioactive leak, just in case if there's a meltdown. As nuclear physicist Anthony V. Nero, in the book Nuclear Energy Both Sides, he stated that the reactor is actually surrounded by several layers of protection. First is beside the core protection, is the outermost steel line containment, which you can see right here. Those are all steel. And the outermost layer is concrete, which can range between 3 to 5 inches thick, and they have steel lining running through them as well. There are other common safety on there, such as spray nozzles or refrigeration system to cool down the steam, all the radioactive gas that release and start building up in the building. So those steam actually condense the steam down into liquid form and relieve the building pressure. There are also extra filtration system as well to eliminate radioactive gas from releasing into the environment. That system was actually used at 3 Mile Island when it had a partial core meltdown, which eliminated majority of the gas that was supposed to release into the atmosphere. While we're talking about radiation, I'd like to show that nuclear reactor release such a small amount of radiation every year that if you live next to a nuclear reactor, right next to it, for a whole entire year, you actually receive less radiation than if you take a trip from New York to Los Angeles and back. Also, you have to live next to a power plant for at least 2,000 years before you actually receive the same dose as a single X-ray, a medical X-ray that you would get in your physician or the hospital. A nuclear reactor also have the least amount of accidents between the period of 1972 to 1990, where there's only 31 reported accidents, while in hydroelectric power plant, actually 4,000, 1,200 in natural gas, and a whopping of 6,400 in coal mining. Well, since we all remember Hurricane Sandy just were here about a couple weeks ago, and there were a total of 34 nuclear power plants in the way of Sandy. 24 of those were actually operating throughout Sandy, and 7 were shut down because they were refueling or for inspection purposes. And only 3 were shut down because of where they were located in New York and New Jersey, where Hurricane Sandy was hitting the hardest. Now, Nuclear Energy Institute reported that 7 of the 9 Pennsylvania nuclear power plants were operating close to 100% capacity, while the other 2 were shut down because they were refueling. And in New York, 5 out of 8 were running. In New Jersey, 2 out of 4. Secondly, I will show you how that nuclear energy is safe, but also environmental friendly. Many people believe that nuclear power plant is actually bad for the environment because of the radioactive waste. However, this is not true since the amount of radioactive waste released is so small. Now, the nuclear reactor provides about 1/3 U.S. emission-free electricity. In 2004 alone, it prevented a total of 3.14 million tons of sulfur oxide, 1.11 million tons of nitrogen oxide, which is an equivalent of about 55 million cars off the road, and 696.6 million tons of carbon dioxide, which all those gases are harmful to the atmosphere. Now, the surrounding area of the reactor can we create a strong and healthy environment. The water from the reactor is actually clean enough to use at aquatic life conservation in nearby ponds and lakes, and they also use it to create wetlands. They also serve as a large conservation area for many endangered species, such as the bald eagles. And finally, I will show you how that the nuclear power plant actually benefits through our economy. Nuclear energy provides 20% of the United States electricity at a low and efficient cost. Well, how low is it? Well, out of the total cost to run a nuclear power plant, it actually costs 14% for the fuel. And according to the engineer director of DC Cook Nuclear Plant, Mr. Randy Ebright, he said that nuclear plants are actually the lowest cost production, with the average of only about 2.03%, which is right here. You can see the fluctuation between oil and coal and natural gas. It costs about almost nearly twice as much, if not 6 times as much, for petroleum. Now, these are actually, the reason why they're so effective is because of the physics behind it. A single pellet of uranium fuel, which is about the tip of your finger, can produce as much energy as 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas, or 1,700 pounds of coal, about 150 gallons of oil. Now, they also save us a lot on land as well. First, because they only take such a small amount of space to run one of these reactors. As you can see, over the last 50 years, nuclear energy has been overlooked, but they need to make a comeback as a new alternative source because of the safety regulation in the United States that we have. It creates a new habitat environment for endangered species and an economic, affordable way to create new energy. Maybe one day we'll no longer need to depend on foreign ores to produce our electricity and keep our world